Hi guys, welcome back to Depth of ML. I am Saloni, and today I'm going to talk about one strategy that I believe works a lot for GATE preparation. So last year was our first year of teaching for GATE. A lot of you learned new tricks, and I also learned one special thing about students and their preparation. So this is one of the places where I have seen students going wrong, taking a very different route, and that eventually leads to them not succeeding in GATE. Okay, and I kind of tried to enforce this particular strategy to all the students. Some of them were very keen enough to pick this up, and some were not, and I could see the result in the final GATE result. Okay. So have you ever wondered, somebody who starts in October or say November, they're able to get a very good rank. And somebody who starts maybe in April and March and July, they're not able to get that much of the score. Maybe both of the students have prepared equally well, have put in equal amount of hard work, but how are the results different? Okay. So for that, I'm going to talk about this strategy. So first of all, why the strategy matters? Like, why should you even be talking about a strategy? So GATE is just not about hard work. Okay. It's about smart planning as well. Like I was saying before, you might see that some people will start from scratch in October or November, and they're able to get a much better rank than somebody who has started in April. So there must be some difference between the students who are starting later, and usually that difference is the strategy that they are adopting to prepare for the exam. Okay. Many students study a lot. Okay. I have seen a lot of students last year study a lot. Like they'll study 10 hours, they'll study 12 hours, but still sometimes they were able to even miss the cutoff. Okay. So what is the difference between, studying smart and studying hard? Okay. That's what matters here. So what your goal should be from the studying is you have to master the concepts, or from the strategy that you're going to build. What you should do is you should master the concepts, reduce the errors, and you should also boost your accuracy under pressure. This is very important. So I could give you a question and maybe infinite amount of time, you might be able to solve that question also, right? So that does not mean, or maybe I give you like 30 seconds and I give you a question and you are not able to solve. So does that mean that you are not equally intelligent or knowledgeable as somebody who would be able to solve the question in infinite time? No. So the thing is that different people perform differently under pressure, and GATE is a very high pressure exam. Okay, you have to solve some 65 questions in 3 hours, and the pressure is real. Okay, so you have to prepare yourself accordingly to be able to do your best under the pressure. Fine, and hence a strategy comes into the play. So what is this strategy? So the most important part of your preparation should be solving questions with the theory that you're learning. Okay. So why it matters? When you're just reading the theory, right, that's going to give you a very false confidence of the subjects that you have learned. Okay. So I've talked to few students in few past months, and they are saying they have completed 50% of the syllabus, 80% of the syllabus. But when I ask them about their quiz course, they say they have not given any quizzes. They have not attempted any questions. So if I give them, I'm pretty sure if I give them any question right now to solve, they'll not be able to solve it. Why? Because they have only worked on the theory. But does GATE ask you theory? No. It asks you to solve the questions. So till you are not taking the concepts that you've learned in the theory and applying it to the question, which is basically the application of the theory, correctly within a certain time, you're basically not learning properly. I would say you have not even completed 10% of the syllabus if you're not solving the questions along with it. Okay. And also when you solve the questions right after studying, right, you are able to, first of all, this is called active learning. You are basically actively trying to apply the concepts that you have learned into the questions, and you are able to see the applications of the concepts that you have learned, and you are able to translate it to a question. Okay, so it basically trains your mind to be able to apply the concepts, the theoretical concepts, to the questions. Now, what are the benefits of this approach? First of all, it will tell you how much you have actually understood. So like I said, when you're just reading the theory alone, you might be under the pretense that you have learned everything, right? And it might give you the false confidence, and if I give you the questions to solve, you'll not be able to solve it. So this basically will tell you how much you have actually understood. So for example, there was a student, I have talked to him few days back, and he told me he has completed like 50% of the syllabus. I asked him what was the score on the quiz for a particular topic, and the score was not even 20% of that. So I asked him, how did you say that your syllabus is complete? He told me that he has completed the theory of it. Then I asked him to complete the quizzes of that and then talk, like how much of the syllabus he's completed. But when he did the quizzes, he was not able to even score 50% in every quiz, right? So according to me, your preparation is not even 50% when you're saying that you've completed this much amount of the syllabus. Even that particular subject is not completely done, right? How can you move forward? So I told him that please go back and try to attempt all the quizzes, solve all the question problems that have been given along with the course, and then see how much of your syllabus is actually done for that subject. Okay. Now, this also helps in bridging the gap between the concept and the application. So you could have learned the theoretical concept very well. If you cannot apply it to a question, then your understanding has some gap. And when you solve questions along with the theory, that bridge basically, that gap gets filled. Okay. It also reinforces the important formulas, the exceptions that you are learning, and whatever the corner cases are, you are able to figure them out using the questions, and they basically leave a lasting impression on your brain once you have done the theory along with the questions. Now, what exactly should you be solving in the practice or whenever you're solving the questions? First and foremost, you should always do the previous year questions. Okay, so now I understand for GATE a lot of PYQs are not available, but whatever is available, please do it. Even try to do all the subjects that are intersecting with CSC, with GATE stats, with GATE maths, all the topics that are intersecting, try to do the PYQs, and that should be your first and foremost priority. Second priority is doing the chapter wise or the section wise quizzes that we provide, or wherever you are enrolled. Okay, so this is a generic video, so wherever you are enrolled, you can actually refer the quizzes. You should definitely attempt the quizzes just after you have learned the concept. That will just solidify your understanding. Okay, and if you're not enrolled anywhere, try to find questions, as many as you can on that topic. There is a lot of huge pool of questions available online. Just try to find that pool and try to solve as many questions as you can for that particular topic. Okay. Also, I will give you a pro tip here. Try to create a mistake logbook. What is mistake logbook? So in this particular book or a notebook, what you will write which question did you get wrong, why did you make it wrong, and what is the correct approach. There could be multiple aspects to it. I'll cover that later, but always have this logbook, because suppose you made a mistake in a question here in July, then it can happen that you make the same mistake in September, October, and maybe in GATE as well, right? So you need to keep a track of all the mistakes that you're doing in your quizzes, in your PYQs, and you should be able to revisit them again and again, because those are the areas where you will definitely make mistake in the final exam as well. Okay, so always create a mistake logbook. Now, what to solve? Okay, so let's try to understand this using a flow of a topic. Suppose that you are learning systems of linear equations from the linear algebra. Okay, so first you will watch all the theory that you could, or you will learn all the theory that you can learn from the books. Then what you should do is you should try to solve the PYQs from that topic. Okay, it means that once you have understood the concept, you should be able to solve the PYQs, right? Then you will take a timed quiz on that particular topic as well. So quiz would have questions which are different from PYQs, slightly newer questions, slightly difficult questions as well, and you will be able to consolidate more of your learning using the quiz. Now what you have to do is review all the mistakes that you have done in the PYQs and the quiz. Okay, note down tricky concepts in a revision notebook, and this revision notebook or the blog book that you're creating should be able to revisit this, every week, every 2 weeks, how frequently you feel that it's comfortable to you and you're not forgetting stuff. On basis of that, you should be able to revise, and you should revise that notebook. Okay, because those are the mistakes that are most frequently going to happen in the GATE exam. Now, Now I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake that a student can make in their GATE journey is not starting test series early. Okay, so a lot of students wait till they're 100% prepared. They say that let me prepare 100%, let me complete all the syllabus, then only I'll start the test series, and I will give the full length text of the subjects at the last, maybe December and January. That's the worst mistake you can do in your preparation. So if you're starting early, you should be focused on solving the questions along with the test series. Okay, you should not do this mistake that you delay the test series till the end and you wait for December and January to complete the test series, because by that time you should be actually revising and your concepts should be very solid, right? And why do you and over the past year I have also learned a lot of things about the student behavior, and hence I'm going to tell you why students make this mistake. What they do is they think that test series is an evaluation tool. It means that I am going to evaluate so and so person based on the test series score, which is completely untrue. Nobody except you should be bothered about your marks in the test series. Test series is not an evaluation tool, it's a preparation tool. So you should be using it like that. Okay, so test series has a lot of benefits. First of all, the questions that you get in test series are slightly higher level, the PYQs, and something that you can expect in a hard level GATE exam usually. So how does the test series help you in learning the concepts? So first of all, once you have solved all the PYQs, all the quiz questions, and you have learned the theory of the topic, now you should be able to apply the concepts to a very new question, right? Something which is very new that you have not seen before, right? So it basically builds your exam stamina. What is exam stamina? To be able to crunch your head, mix up all the concepts that you have, and to be able to apply them correctly in the given duration, a shorter duration, which is very close to 3 minutes per question, as close as it is in the GATE exam. Okay, so it builds your exam stamina. You will also learn time management, and this you should start as early as possible, because a lot of students say that the time was less, they were not able to complete the paper, they could have solved more questions after the exam. So you should be starting to learn how to manage the time from the starting onwards. Also, there is a lot of scope of silly mistakes. A lot of students, including myself, I used to make a lot of silly mistakes when I was preparing for GATE. There were mainly two types of mistakes that I used to make. First of all, I would not read the question properly. Second thing is, I would calculate the correct answer and I would mark the incorrect one, right? And this I realized only by giving the 2 mock tests that I gave, and I was able to correct them then and there, and I did not make this mistake in the GATE exam. Okay, and these mistakes repeat every year. I see every student repeating these kind of mistakes. So you should be able to identify your silly mistakes early on and to be able to correct them as well. Okay, and this usually happens in the test series, because test series is usually high pressure than the quizzes and the PYQs that you're solving. Okay, so you should try to expose yourself to the competitive environment as early as possible, because then only your exam stamina will be built. Now let's try to understand it with this very simple example. Suppose I ask you to compete in Olympics. Okay, now will you tell me that you will compete in Olympics and you're going to start practicing or giving running or swimming or whatever that you're preparing for just 1 month before the Olympics? No, right? You will try to do it over a year, or how much ever time you have, you would try to do that competitive swimming or competitive running and whatever, right? So why not apply the same formula here? So here, why not put yourself to the pressure and the competitive environment from the start only? And why delay it? And why think that I will do it after I have completed the whole thing, right? So start putting yourself into that pressure early on, and identify your silly mistakes, recognize your weak areas, and sometimes we just make mistakes under pressure. Unless we are not in pressure, we are okay with that. Okay, so you have to understand those pain points of yours, your weakness under the pressure, and you have to fix that. Okay, and don't treat it like a final exam. Nobody is going to judge you on basis of your mock test. Okay, nobody is going to talk about your mock test scores unless you get a very good score in the GATE exam, right? If your GATE exam score is not significant enough, nobody will be bothered about your mock test as well, right? So only focus on building stamina, and don't take this as an evaluation tool. This is my request, and this is one of the biggest mistake students have done last year, and it has costed them a year, or something, that result that they were not expecting. Now, what should you be doing after every test that you attempt? Okay, so you have to review every question, even the correct ones, to be able to understand that whether you got this correct because your concept was right, or because you did some tukification and you got it correct. Okay, and you should be able to analyze this question from different point of view. Maybe this is another way of solving the question, maybe this is another way of solving the question, etc. Okay, you should try to figure out all the possible ways of solving one question. When you are solving MCQs, so we know generally one option is correct, but you should also have a clarity on why the other three options are not correct. And that's going to help you when you deal with MSQs. Last year in linear algebra, a lot of MSQs were given and students were not able to solve. But some of the students who were, rigorous enough in their analysis of the questions, where they analyzed every option and had a very good understanding why this option is correct and why this option is not correct, even in the test series, were able to do very well in the linear algebra portion of the GATE DA this year. Okay, so try to have a very good understanding of every option. Also, try to see whether a question that you have solved before can be solved with different methods as well. Okay, write down mistakes, whatever mistakes you're doing. Conceptual, maybe there's some lack in the conceptual understanding, maybe some calculation mistake, maybe you got panicked in the time that was there, and you should basically be then preparing yourself for lesser amount of time. Now, this is how you should be categorizing your mistakes. So you can say that, okay, I didn't know this concept, something that I have to learn. Okay, I forgot the formula, I misread the question, rushed the answer. And you can create categories as you want, but try to classify them into the correct categories and see like what are your pain points and try to fix them incrementally. Okay. Now, let's recap the whole action plan. So what you will do is you'll study the concepts immediately. You will basically solve the questions that you have, the related questions to the concepts that you have studied. You will also use the PYQs and the quizzes as the concept checkpoints. Basically, you will not move forward to a next concept unless you have not solved the quizzes and the PYQs. You basically will join a test series early and you will try to use it to learn and not to judge yourself. You will maintain a mistake logbook and revise it weekly or bi-weekly as comfortable as you are with that, but do revise it. And also you will try to keep track of your weak areas and the progress. Okay, so this is very important part of your GATE DA preparation or GATE in general preparation. So I will hope that you will not make the mistakes that the students make every year, and you will be more intelligent, more strategic towards the GATE exam, and you will be able to learn better with these techniques. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.